Hey everyone, it's Krishanti, your guide to living a life of limitless possibilities. And if you're interested in reincarnation and past lives, I've got a really easy technique for you to try to figure out who you've been in the aeons of the planet Earth. And it is really basic and simple. But first, past life research and past life regressions and reincarnation and really getting to know who you've been in other lifetimes on Earth is actually very, very healing. And when you start to get an idea of why you keep reincarnating here, what the people in your life represent to you, and how you've interacted with them in other lifetimes, you can figure out why you keep having these same patterns over and over again, and what your spirit and your soul really wants to learn, so that you can finally stop coming back here and reach enlightenment or get to the next level of incarnation, like outside of being on the earth plane. So that past life discovery and figuring out that aspect of yourself, or of your spirit and your soul, is really helpful. It's like putting the pieces of a puzzle together. So the more you start to know yourself, the more you can work on yourself and heal yourself. So it is not just a silly kind of fun pastime. It's actually really therapeutic and fascinating and very healing. And the easiest way to figure out who you've been in a past life, it's so blissfully simple, is to look at what you just loved as a child. Like, what games did you play? What did you draw over and over again? Who did you say your name was? Did you speak with a funny accent that your parents might have laughed at? Or did you actually speak a whole other language that nobody knew where you got it or how you picked it up? All these little things about what you were drawn to as a child are clues as to where you've incarnated before, like in the past. For example, when I was a little girl, I constantly drew pictures of princess dresses, like over and over and over again. That's all I drew. In fact, if you were to ask me to do that now, I could draw 10 dresses, like off the top of my head, gorgeous. They all have to have puff sleeves, like really big puff sleeves, huge, gorgeous hoop skirts, and like layers and levels of lace and ruffles and perfect little ringlets. But I could do that at the drop of a hat, and I could do it for hours. I haven't done that in years and years and years, but I spent my whole childhood doing that. That and brushing Barbie hair. So to me, that leads me to, and with all the research and stuff I've worked on with myself, a lifetime that I had in Florence, Italy. Now, another client of mine that I worked with a few years ago on her past lives and figuring out who she'd been, this is so funny, told me that when she was a little girl, she insisted that her name was not the name that her parents gave her, but Pinder. So she had this really normal name, but she said, "That's not my name. My name's Pinder." And she said she wrote letters. Her grandma was her pen pal, which is so cute. And she has the letters where she made sure her grandma was like, "Dear Pinder." She did this until she was like 7 or 8 years old. So in our work together, we were looking up the lifetime of Pinder, which of course, I mean, why would you say your name's Pinder anyway? Of course she had been, and it was very fascinating and interesting. Another client constantly drew pictures of a man in prison, and it was really sad and full of pain and grief. And in her session, before she even told me that, I saw the picture of the guy and the emotions with it, and I told her that, and she gasped and she said, "Oh my God, I drew that over and over again," which is really fascinating too, that a child would constantly draw like a prison scene. Kind of dark, but definitely a clue as to what she'd been in a past life. And for this particular person, when she did kind of work through that, it really helped alleviate years and years of depression that she couldn't source in her present life. So that was really interesting how that healing took place. And if you're interested in learning more about all this fascinating world of past lives and past life therapy, I highly recommend Dr. Brian Weiss. He's a pioneer in the field, and I just love him. He's written several books. So Brian Weiss, and also Ian Stevenson is a wonderful researcher who validated and verified accounts of past life recognition, like children. I think the book is called Children Who Remember Past Lives, and he'd go and study it and verify and validate what they were picking up on and what they were saying they had been. So it's so interesting. There's so much to learn and study. with this whole world of reincarnation. So I hope you have a lot of fun. For more info about all of this fun, interesting stuff, check out my website at krishanti.com. And thank you so much. Bye.